This is Truth Bronco with Bill Ward. On this channel, you'll see many different things. You'll hear many different things. I promise you it will all be the truth. We'll talk about the Bible. We'll talk about grizzly bear confrontations that I have had personally. We'll call coyotes, and we'll be in the Rocky Mountains in the North Country of the United States of America, and we will be down here where I am right now filming the Colorado River and the northern stretches of Lake Havasu in Arizona. I want you to follow my videos as the numbers go. They'll be numbered, beginning with the Ghost of the Angel, number 1, followed up by Mary's song and the Many Lives of Mary. I have written all the songs that you'll see on my videos. They're all originals. If you don't follow them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc., then you'll have trouble understanding the symbolism that is in the next video to come. I hope you enjoy it, and please subscribe and do all those other things that are necessary, including the thumbs up to see more videos. Welcome everyone. I'm here on the shore of Willow Lake in western Wyoming, one of my campsites, and I'm going to show it to you from the water. So let's go for a little kayak tour. Well, this is Willow Lake. It's pretty windy today, so we'll see how it goes. Water's really high. I'm going over a ring there where they've had a fire on the beach. Campfire. It's a beautiful lake. Looks pretty little here, doesn't it? Now you can see that it's bigger. If I sound a little bit funny, because I have nose plugs on my nose riding in this whitewater kayak. If I flip upside down, I'm going to be stuck inside with a spray skirt, and I might have to roll up, and I don't want to do that with water pouring into my nose. So nose plugs are a good thing to have in a whitewater kayak. Right here where I am now, yesterday, and you can see my camp, my tent, my car, bicycle, beach area in the background. This is a free campsite here in western Wyoming. But right here where I'm sitting on the water in my kayak right now, yesterday an osprey called the fishhawk dove into the water, came up with a trout in its talons, flew away, and as it was flying away, shook the water off of its wings and never dropped the trout. They're a very cool bird, very big, almost, well, probably 2/3 the size of a bald eagle. They have a lot of white on them like a bald eagle too, but they're called the fishhawk, osprey. They build huge nests. They're very cool, and that was fun. The day before yesterday, I saw an osprey dive right here where I'm kayaking. He dove down 3 times and came up empty. But that 4th time, I don't know if it's a different osprey or not. Maybe it's a better fisherman. Fisher bird. I don't know. But yeah, that 4th one, he got his dinner. Pretty windy today here in western Wyoming. It's what is it, June 7th today, and I see on the weather report that it's supposed to get down to 30 degrees here in 2 days for a low. It's been around 38, 40, 45 in that area. High is going to get to be about 70, it says, in a couple of days for a high. That's about what it is right now here. And after a couple of days, then it's supposed to go up to about 80. I don't know how well you could see it with my GoPro. Over there, at the end of the lake and up, are peaks of the Wind River Range of the Rocky Mountains here in western Wyoming. And I was up there yesterday filming at 9,300 feet elevation. And from there it went up to 12,200, something like that, over 12,000 feet where those peaks are there. They're majestic as can be, I think. Beautiful place. Been in Arizona all winter long, and it's good to be back home here in the Rocky Mountains. Although this is Wyoming and I'm from Montana, but the Rocky Mountains are the Rocky Mountains. I've seen the Sierras and skied there. Haven't done much out east, but been in the Cascades skiing, been in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado skiing. Rocky Mountains are my favorite. I love them. Grizzly bear lives here. I have a lot of grizzly bear encounter stories. I'm a bow hunter, and praise God, I was always protected. But as a bow hunter, you have to be pretty stealthy hunting for elk. And so you go against the wind so they can't smell you. But that means bears can't smell you either. They have a huge, tremendous sense of smell. Contrary to me with these nose plugs on my nose. But they are, grizzly bears are something else. I was one time in the Great Bear Wilderness area hunting with a buddy on horseback. This was back when I was about 35 years old. And in Kalispell, Montana, that's just the Great Bear Wilderness area is contiguous to the to Glacier Park, and backed up then to, as you go down south, contiguous to the Great Bear Wilderness area is the Bob Marshall Wilderness area, and then you go on down, and contiguous to the Bob Marshall area to the south is the Scapegoat Wilderness area. Very wild, beautiful, fantastic, home of the grizzly bear. Wonderful, wonderful places. And so my hunting buddy and I, Mike was his name, we were walking along on our horses. Had two saddle horses and a pack horse, and we were walking along, and Mike couldn't bugle for elk. I was the only one that could, so I'd always bugle. And so we were up above, probably 20 yards, 30 yards above the where this creek was going. It was going to pour into the middle fork of the Flathead River. And so we stopped our horses, and I bugled, and lo and behold, I got a response from down in there. And back in those days, we were in there for maybe a week or 10 days, a number of times,
never saw any more than 1 or 2 people the whole time that we were back in there. So knew it was an elk. There's some pretty good elk hunters nowadays that they make pretty good calls. I just bugle with a diaphragm, is what it's called. Just put it in your mouth and then you bugle into a hollow tube. And so Mike and I looked at each other and we said, well, what are we gonna do? Because we had to rock climb down about 30 yards to get down to this creek bottom. And Mike says, well, we could go on the trail here, up around, and he says, and come back down. And it'll take us about 2, maybe 3 hours on horseback to do that. He said, or we can rock climb down right now. And I said, well, let's rock climb down right now. And he says, okay. So we did that, and we got down to the bottom, and then we headed with the wind in our face. We headed toward where this bugle came from this elk. So we get down there, and the trail splits off. And Mike goes onto the trail, and I bushwhacked back in, right directly toward where the elk was. And I set up behind some bushes, and I started to bugle, paw the ground with rocks, with a rock, and rig the trees with a log, which makes it sound like, supposedly, makes it sound like you've got an elk rubbing their antlers against a tree or pawing the ground and then bugling. So I was doing that, and I stopped, and lo and behold, about 10 yards away from me was this great big 6-point bull elk. He's standing broadside to me. And so I pulled my bow back. It was a compound bow. I still shoot bare bow. I don't shoot with sights. Shoot instinct, some people call it. Gap shooting, some people call it. And so I pulled my bow back, and I was holding it there, and I was looking at the dead tree branches in front of me, and I just didn't feel safe about shooting my arrow through those tree branches. It doesn't take much to cause an arrow to ricochet, and if it ricochets a little bit, then you could shoot that elk in the guts and you'd never find him. So I didn't want to wound an elk, and so I was getting a little tired of holding my bow back. I mean, it's not a big draw back, you know. Back then, what was I shooting? I don't know whether I was shooting my. Oh, I have shot as high as a 94-pound PSE bow that Dan Moore made for me. Well, he just adapted it, but it worked out to be 94 pounds. He had special ordered. But I was in my 30s then, and I could shoot it real well. I don't know if I had that bow yet or not, or if Paul Schaefer, who's dead now too, he got killed on Big Mountain, which is called Whitefish Mountain now, skiing. But he used to make bows, and he still sells them. You know, people that now own his business, I think. But he made them out of his garage, and he made me a 75-pound recurve bow that I just would shoot bare bow. That I loved. And now I have at 72 years old now, I'm shooting a 64-pound Matthews. I love it. It's real fast, and not hard for me to pull and easy for me to hold. And at any rate, back to the story. So I was holding at full draw, but I was just reticent to shoot because of the dead tree branches. And so this bull looks right at me, and I can't drop it. You know, I can't back off because if I move, he's gone. So I got to hold real still, 10 yards away, right there where I was. And he looks right at me, and then he turns and he bugles. And as he bugles, I let off on my bow. And I figured if I could walk inch 2-3 feet to my side, I would have a good, clean, open shot. And so just as I was starting to move, and I hadn't moved yet, but my mind was saying, okay, pick up your foot and just slide a little bit over here, and we'll get away from those dead tree branches with this different angle. And at 10 yards, it's 100% hard shot. So, and I love elk meat, burger. I made, you know, elk that I've shot made all into burger. No suet added, which is fat. Nothing, just grind it up. So anyway, about that time, I hadn't moved yet, and that elk blew out of there. And I thought, well, I didn't do anything, and look at the wind, it's blowing right in my face. I didn't move, he didn't wind me. Wonder what's going on. About that time, my hunting buddy Mike, he's walking up, and he said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "What happened?" I said, "He left." I said, "He blew out of here." I said, "I was watching him." And Mike says, "Yeah, I shot at him." I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah, I shot at him." He says, "And look, here's my arrow sticking in the tree. It went right under his neck." And he says, "Where were you?" I says, "Well, right here." Pretty much, well, about 10 yards away from where his arrow stuck. I didn't say we should split up, and we shouldn't have, but we did, because Mike just took off. He didn't know exactly where I was, and he shot anyway. Stupid thing to do, but then again, all of us people, me included, we do stupid things on occasion. And so, here's where the story actually goes, because we started talking about bears. So, I followed that elk. I saw where he went, where he ran to, so I followed him. So I'm in bear brush, and bear brush is 12 feet tall. So I'm walking through this, and I got the wind in my face, and I've got creeks coming down out of the mountain next to me, and rock slides and stuff like that to my right, going into this rushing creek that's going to go into the middle fork of the Flathead River. And down the trail, probably a mile. And all of a sudden, the hair stood up on the back of my neck, and I've never had that happen before, except one time when a lightning struck above me when I was hunting and leaning next to a tree. Then my hair stood up, and the lightning struck above, didn't strike the tree. Good thing, thank you again, Lord. So, but at any rate, it stood up at this point here in the Great Bear Wilderness area, and I knew when that happened, and God's still small voice within me said, "Turn around, leave." And so I did. I will lay you odds, that's a big grizzly bear area. Riding on horseback, I've seen as many as a half a dozen bears within a half mile feeding on huckleberries in that Great Bear Wilderness area. So I turned around and I left, and we didn't get anything. And but we had one heck of an exciting hunt. Lots of fun hunting in the Rocky Mountains. Love you all, folks. Talk to you later.